currently with the investigative division of the Marine Corps base here in Albany. Been blessed with this job for about the last 18 years. Have really enjoyed working for the Marine Corps. We have a lot of information that comes through our office about cases and incidents that happen to our Marines and civilians aboard the base and in the area as well. Recently we had a rather egregious virtual reality scam that was attempted here involving child kidnapping. It is very prevalent. The origin of the scam came out of Mexico in the prison system several decades ago. And it's developed over the years into something that is much more visceral in how they approach their victims. Generally speaking, a phone call is received by the victim that starts out with a child screaming or crying. He's got a gun, he has a knife, and because of IA, or artificial intelligence now, some of these organizations have the ability to mirror your own children's voices. So the impact on the person receiving the call is significant. They bank on that because they want to maintain that level of insecurity long enough to get you to wire them money. It's a very successful scam. It crosses many other frauds and scams that they're collecting as well, but this one impacts home. Our Marines and service members that travel are in a unique position to be victims of this because they're not necessarily tied with their family to a particular community. And it's easy to believe that maybe your kids have been abducted. There's a couple of things that you can put in place or plan ahead for. The number one thing is being aware that it happens. The percentage of true abductions are minuscule by comparison. And it's not something that you see in the US typically. If you were outside of our borders in another country, you might take it much more seriously because US citizens are abducted. However, stateside, we're targeted because we have disposable income. Other countries set up call centers and get very professional at these scams. We're notorious for sharing too much about ourselves on social media. Our children's names, where we live, my child's at school, we're on a trip, we're on vacation, and it doesn't take much to mine that information and come up with a plan on how to approach you, put you in fear, and get you to wire money. And once it's wired, generally speaking, it goes offshore to a number of different third world countries, and the recovery of those funds is almost impossible. The FBI, who leads this effort, has a website called IC3. And it's a web-based system that allows you to provide direct information to the FBI about what happened to you, what the caller sounded like, anything you might have heard, the financial numbers that you were sending to, the names, and so on. They compile this information across the US, and it helps them identify professional organizations that they can target overseas to try to put these things out of business. As a victim of one of these crimes, it's unusual for you to get feedback, a feeling of justice for what happened to you, because you're one of thousands. And the notification of how the case turned out is rarely known by the victims, but every phone call, every tip, every piece of information is valuable. You just have to trust the system's going to help get you justice in time. The official FBI identity for the child abduction scam is a virtual kidnapping fraud. It is one of many. There are several other versions. If you go to the open website for IC3 under the FBI, you will see how they categorize all the different kinds of computer scams, cell phone scams, and all the categories there, as well as best practices to avoid becoming a victim. And of course, your number one defense is know that it's out there. Knowledge is power.